my concern is, how does Park and Planning engage our state delegation, specifically our multiple members on the Senate Budget and Tax Committee and the House Appropriations Committee, in fighting for additional program open space dollars in the state budget, especially given this event, additional possibility that will be available to us soon?
We have a very robust campaign.
Really?
Yes.
Not what our state senators tell me.
Well, no, we do. I personally go to Annapolis, and we have all the projects, and we meet with every senator, we meet with every delegate possible. We just run from one office to another office, and we show them the impact of not receiving the POS.
What time of year?
Excuse me?
At what time of year?
We do it usually right before the sessions.
Right.
We start actually from December to get geared up for it, and as soon as the Annapolis legislation
I'd be happy to make some suggestions, but I would just suggest you need to do it long before the session begins.
Yes.
And you need to do it in Montgomery County, not in Annapolis.
You're correct. Oh, here? Okay.
Yeah, that's where they are for 9 months a year.
Yes.
When the budget's being drafted by the government.
Yes. And that was a decision that we start educating them. The interesting part was that when we started a couple of years ago, we exactly realized what you're talking about, that it's a lot of education needs to be done to that they understand exactly how POS impact our projects. You're correct.
Right, and the law was specifically written to include urban areas,
Yes.
not just
You're
rural.
correct.
So
Yes.
we should be going after every one of those dollars.
We will do
get.
that.
Thank you. I'd be happy to work with you offline.
Sure.
Ms. Lorraine, you have one
There's
more question?
one more question on this. I see on Circle 8, you've got some future expected costs, like increase in lease costs, but you also have the Wheaton Redevelopment Project operating budget impacts. What is that? The Wheaton Redevelopment Project.
That's a combination of, and Ms. Beck is coming to the table, that's a combination of general upcoming expenses, including the debt services attached to the new Wheaton building.
That's
which
Wheaton
DEP
building. Oh, another thing, Park and Planning, keep an eye on that. So you're charging your element of the new Wheaton building against the Water Quality Protection Fund?
Correct.
You've got to be kidding. That's a really beautiful thing.
Well,
Park and Planning, you're in that building too, so go do the math. Keith, can you keep an eye on that?
We'll discuss
This
that.
is really getting beyond the pale.
Well, the thought behind that,
I imagine there's thought. I would get it, yeah.
the space costs that you see in the 6-year fund display, the $687,000 that we see, that will be coming out of the schedule, and then DEP will be assuming debt service for the building. So the costs that we're currently paying for the staff to do the work for their space requirements, that's going to turn into a debt service payment.
Oh, so the people working on planning the building are also charged to this, right?
No.
No? I thought that's what you said.
I mean, the project is being financed in basically a couple different ways. There's geo bonds, and that's covering the park and planning portion, and some of the other general government portions as well. There is funding coming in cash, and also some debt related to DPS. There's debt related to solid waste is paying cash for their portion, and then the water quality protection charge area would be charged for the debt service for DEP. If you wanted later to have some different thought process about a piece.
If it's a Parks building as well, so figure out your costs associated with the building and send them the bill.
Okay, well, I don't think that the majority of the
You're not
work-
going to want to do that, I'm sure, but it's, let's be fair. But, it's not right.
We're going to move on.
Well, that's all I had on the DEP General Fund and Water Quality Protection Fund budgets. I noted some follow-up items and the reconciliation list items. The addition for the parks budget for the Water Quality Protection Fund is not a reconciliation list item because it's not part of the general fund. that would just show up as requiring about a 35-cent increase in the ERU charge. So the council would have to approve that in order to fit what we've recommended here. But there's no reconciliation-less process for that fund.
Okay. Anybody feel like talking about bag tax? I noticed a little line here that says.
Oh, yeah.
Generally has been showing an increasing trend over time despite assumptions that disposable bag purchases would decline over time.
Just a
So
couple
those
of,
purchases at Victoria's Secret.
Have we learned anything from this program now that suggests that we ought to modify the program at all?
as you know, we continue to look at this. We last year did in the summer an increased outreach. We are going to be evaluating what we learned from that increased outreach effort and figuring out next steps for this program moving forward. But I think the need to continue to educate the public, the need that there are new businesses coming into the mix, we continue to see into that. And, now that it is a more mature program and that we have had the second phase of the outreach, we will have some data moving forward to inform us what we want to do moving forward. So look forward to continued discussions on that.
So what is the data as it relates to the grocery stores and the places where we really felt like this is where we can convince people to come in with a reusable bag as opposed to Victoria's Secret or any place else that people are not going to walk in with a reusable bag?
I don't have the breakdown of that data with me
Would you
today.
provide the committee with that breakdown? Because
Yes.
that's the piece. I've been a strong supporter of this program. We are, as people understand, the only jurisdiction, I believe, in the United States of America that has extended this program as broadly as we have. And I'm not convinced that the juice is worth the squeeze with respect to that aspect of it. Now, if you have data that shows, in fact, people are walking into department stores with reusable bags, then so be it. I felt like we could really make an impact at the grocery store, at the 7-Eleven level, at places like that, where people can, in fact, get their minds around, this is where we should bring a reusable bag. I don't think you'll ever find that at the hair salon. And so I ask you, when we first raised this question, the response was, we need more time of the program. As you say, the program is now mature.
I think it is getting mature, and I also think the increased outreach that we did this past year will help inform decisions moving forward. I understand your concern.
If I may.
Mr. Hucker?
Mitra, do you mind answering another question? So 2 of the 3 Montgomery County senators on the Budget and Tax Committee, when asked how often does Park and Planning meet with you to discuss how to get more program open space dollars in Montgomery County, their replies are, it's completely unprecedented, and the other one, it's extremely rare. So I don't think you have a robust program of meeting with our state legislators about how to get more program open space.
Well, we try to improve on it using your recommendation, and we actually work with our, just to explain to you a little bit what we had done, was that
I thought you said you meet with them every year. You just
Yes.
sat here and said you meet with them every year, and
Yes.
they're saying you've never met with them.
No, we meet with them at the Annapolis offices. I can bring you the list of the names. Could you tell me who are the names? Maybe I can, which ones you just...
I'll talk to you offline
Yes,
about it.
yes. No,
But
we
there seems
do.
to be
No, we do.
a chasm, of a disconnect here.
Yeah, I don't know, but we have, I personally went there and, not this year because we received our POS, but the last 2 years, I personally went there and I met at least with about 10 delegates. And we actually had
Well, I'm
like
asking about senators.
we went a Saturday, they called it, well, I don't remember exactly when I went there 2 years ago, which day it was.
Went to the state bond bill hearing then.
This,
it was
I
on a
went-
Saturday.
This year I went to bond bill, but the last 2 years I went specifically for POS
Okay.
Actually, we even have a consultant.
I understand. And I also have a state senator asking for a small inexpensive pedestrian bridge over Buckhorn Branch.
And I can explain to you, but this is
can we
Senator Mano's
Can we
project.
get that and spend some money on that?
Okay, let me
It's
just explain that.
Hard to get our state senators to ask for the money that we deserve from the state budget if we're not taking care of their priorities as
Okay.
well.
We talked to Senator Mano, and actually, I'm going to call them just this week because I have a new idea. We met with DOT also. The bridge that they're asking is not in park property. It's actually in DOTs, and we have been talking with DOT also, and they have been involved, and they had come up with some kind of cost estimate. So the program Open Space is slated to be used for open space in the for the parks, and this area that they're talking about is not even parks
Sure.
property.
Well, I'd like to work with you to relay that request to DOT as well and catch up with your DOT contact, okay?
Sure, I can contact you, and I'm going to talk to Senator Mano also. We can give them a walkway that from their, that area, they can come through the park and come, but the issue would be that they have to cross Lay Hill Road on a mid-block, and
Okay,
that's
well,
an issue.
We'll follow up with you and DOT on this, but you
Sure.
understand my point, I think.
Yes, I
right?
do. Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.